jamu huko. Yes. Hello? Siren. Napenda piga siren. Sawa, ndio. Ndio. Unangira. Sasa imeweka. Ninangira.
Bosa amesimama. Bosa amesimama. Sioki.
Bosa alisimama kwa ngambo. Bora.
Early 2010.
Yeah.
The budget estimates the revenue raising measures are with the public from 30th of April to date. What maybe Kenyans will be listening to is the details of these revenue raising measures and budget highlights. So there is really no surprises.
Right.
Just giving more details on what it is that is in the budget estimates.
All right, so yeah, Waziri, this is your second budget as the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury. When you look at your first budget and this second budget, how difficult or how easy has this one been?
Well, there is no easy budget. In fact, this year's budget is even informed by a number of challenges, one of which is the external shock that we are facing. You know, now we have a war in the Middle East, and that war is completely disrupting the world economy. And so we are preparing this budget in the backdrop of a major external shock, what is close to be called world war. And so there are a lot of uncertainties, and again, underperformance in revenue collection, the rising inflation. That's a major thing, because we are preparing a budget at a time when the inflation is rising. Last year it was different. Inflation was contained Today it is rising. So this budget is more challenging.
All right, for a lot of Kenyans, they'll be looking at some of the food commodity prices that will be brought down. But the question that I want you to know, in terms of the sectors that could generate a lot of economic activity, a lot of jobs, are you doing something around that?
Yeah, of course, we are investing quite significantly in agriculture as the backbone of our economy. Remember, agriculture is also largely devolved, and I think that is also something that we are missing in our discussions when we talk about underfunding agriculture. Agriculture is heavily devolved, but the government is coming up with interventions to support a number of crops, both for food consumption and exports. Like tea, you can see in the past 2-3 years, government has invested a lot in the tea sector. We have also invested a lot in the revival of the coffee sector. We have invested a lot in edible oil, and I will speak to that in Parliament. We have also invested a lot now in sugar reforms and many other crops. But again, in food production, you can see the efforts that the government has put in terms of subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, provision of seeds has helped us in increasing the quantity or the amount of food or maize, which is our staple food. The production of maize has gone up. Well, we have also been lucky that the weather has been favorable, but the government intervention is clearly visible and evident.
All right,
so
that
is for us.
Yeah, one final question from me, Waziri, is when you look at just looking at the funding of this budget, the revenue underperformance is still a major headache. What is your plan around that?
Revenue performance is still a big challenge, and it is informed by a number of factors. One of them is the inefficiency at the KRA that cannot be wished away. But there have also been some challenges in terms of tax administration. I will point out that our tax administration has challenges because the business has moved from the normal traditional way to more into again informal sector, and besides that, there has also been the movement towards the digital economy. And so we are doing a lot of reforms. In the supplementary budget that we prepared, we had allocation for KRA to do reforms, to carry out reforms, about 17 billion. And a lot of reforms are happening at the KRA, and I'm sure then in the next or the coming financial year, KRA will be able to collect more without raising tax rates. And if you look at my finance bill that I presented to Parliament, it's heavy on reforms and tax administration as opposed to raising tax rates, contrary to what others have been saying. Yes, my friend.
Waziri, thank you very much. I know you touched a bit on agriculture. There are quite a number of this particular budget. Agriculture is one of them. You're cutting almost 10 billion shillings from there. Energy is one of the major cuts also that you've seen, almost 72 billion. Can you talk to us about this? But education, actually one of the biggest plans also on the other side, are getting a huge allocation. Talk to me about this balancing act that you have to consider when you're making this particular budget.
We have tried to maintain most of the provisions under the agriculture sector, no major cuts. I will tell you, in the fertilizer subsidy, we have maintained almost the same amount of 18 billion. We have also maintained almost similar amount in sugar reforms at 2.5. Yes, we have reduced a bit. Parliament actually cut the coffee cherry, but I think we need to put a little more on the coffee debt, because that is where money is needed. We had provided for 1 billion was cut from the coffee cherry, and I thought it would be put under the debt, but Parliament in its own wisdom decided to reallocate the fund elsewhere. We are also putting more resources in providing coffee seeds, and so we have not really underfunded the agriculture budget. But energy, you are right. Energy, we did an assessment, and we came to a conclusion that a number of projects and programs, this is a zero-based budget. We have started implementing zero-based budget where you justify every shilling that you are asking from the national coffers. So when we looked at the energy sector, we realized a number of projects are actually commercially viable, and that is why we started the National Infrastructure Fund. So we have taken them out of the budget, not that they are not going to be funded, but they are going to be funded differently. by applying the National Infrastructure Fund and PPP program. So
Definitely.
the energy sector will still be funded heavily, but away out of our budget.
And lastly, from me,
Yeah, that's
Waziri,
what I can tell you,
we talk about the issue of Tax Procedures Act. Lots of changes right there, especially this movement from zero-rated to tax exempt.
Yeah.
And one of the areas that we've seen with the current government is the issue of affordable housing. There's been a proposition now. We are moving them from exempt to, rather from zero-rated to exempt. And some people are saying, is this counter administration, which is actually very forward with issues to do with affordable housing?
No, far from it. My finance bill is working more towards simplifying tax collection and making it efficient. Let me put it this way. Yes, that provision was put there to attract more investment into affordable housing sector. But you also have to review. When you have a tax expenditure like that, you continuously review its performance. If it is not adding much value to the economy, then it has no business being left, because it's an expenditure. When you have Kenyans claiming for taxes, it is us who pay for it. Those of us who probably are not even involved in that business. So we have looked at the value added. They are not going to tax them, but we put exempt so that there are no claims, because there have been unnecessary claims that don't make sense at all.
And how about EVs? Because we've also seen a lot of focus on EVs.
Again, we are saying we should move as many items as possible to exempt and not zero rating. They are exempt, and also they are not paying tax.
Okay.
The only thing is that they are not going to claim input tax. And this allowing of input tax claim is creating a lot of problems, because then you allow all kinds of unscrupulous people to come forward. And by the way, if you look at our medium-term revenue strategy and tax policy, national tax policy, it is clear on what we need to do. And it is clear on the fact that we should remove most items from zero-rated to exports. We should only allow export commodities to be zero-rated.
Okay.
We have left some under zero-rated still, because they are very essential and very sensitive, like bread, like milk, and the rest. But ordinarily, almost all items need to go to either exempt or vatable at the standard rate. Zero rating is not the right thing to do. It creates tax expenditures, it creates tax leakages and tax planning, which is not very good.
Thank you very much.
So maybe,
All right. Waziri, my name is Sydney Chazima from TV7. This president spoke about a reduction in VAT, taxes on VAT, which hit revenue collection by 14.4 billion shillings. Are you going to see a supplementary too?
The supplementary to that you are going to see is not major, it's not on cuts. We've just proposed some realignments on donor-funded projects, and some 3 or so items we are not spending. We are maybe spending about 6 more billion. We have tried as much as possible to limit supplementary to, and that's the final one. You can see clearly that we are walking the talk. I said we are not going to have many supplementary budgets as it has been. We have only had one, and then there's this second one is just realigning donor-funded projects. So we will not. We will see how to accommodate the same in our expenditure. Yes.
Thank you very much.
I think we've had a wonderful interview.